What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Balls in Your Face podcast. I'm Christian Rivera.
I'm Joshua Ramos.
I'm Azil Hernandez.
And this is a very special episode. This episode is all about the GOAT in my eyes, in my heart. The biggest of the poppies. David Ortiz.
Other than me, I think I deserve some credit there.
David Ortiz himself got into the Hall of Fame first ballot. Standing ovation from the people. First ballot, David Ortiz. Man, I was watching it on TV. I was trying to get a free trial to MLB Network because I didn't have it on my cable plan, but I have the MLB app, so they played it there. And dude, that I went crazy. Once they said only one person made it, I knew it was him. There was no one else gonna be able to do it.
They're like Barry Bonds, no?
Imagine.
Of all people.
Nah, man. David Ortiz, first ballot Hall of Famer, the greatest. You know. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I'm not a Red Sox fan, so I'm definitely not rooting for David Bautista all the time. But Dave Bautista.
David Bautista.
David Ortiz.
We're talking about WWE now.
I tweet. But shout out to my boy because he is Dominican, so Plátano Power in the building, you know.
Oaxaca con queso frito.
Yeah, so I'm all cool with him because he's Dominican, but I'm not a Red Sox fan, so I'm not rooting for that guy all the time. But
mad respect.
But yeah, it's cool. Respect to him.
You see, you're a Yankees fan. In your heart, how do you feel about David Ortiz going in the Hall of Fame? Like, when you were going against him, did he put fear in your heart? All right, don't know. You see, if your immediate answer wasn't yes, what are you doing, bro?
Dog, like I said, I'm not here to critique his career. But definitely when you stack him up against some people that didn't make it, that's where it gets tricky. But I guess that's what we're here to do as well.
It's because he's the best. I mean, no. What are you gonna say? I was gonna say
no, because he was talking about the main thing you could look at is how Barry Bonds and other people like that didn't make it, and obviously like it's all tied into steroids. We're gonna get into that, and obviously that whole report in 2003 that came out, but
false.
I was about to say the same thing. If David Ortiz isn't a Hall of Famer, I don't know what you need to make it. He's definitely, in my eyes, been the best postseason career hitter. I think that's what elevated his.
Right in 2013 with this ring right here. 2013, Boston Strong, baby. Let's go.
So let me ask. Okay, so what is like your criteria for a baseball Hall of Famer? Like, what is your criteria?
For me, it's simple.
What is it? If it's so simple, say it.
We fucked up.
What? What is it?
We have to start over.
What's simple?
No, I'm sorry.
What's going on right now?
We gotta start.
It's like madness in here.
All right, let me ask you, Christian. Let me ask you.
Man, it comes down to greatness, man. It's. Well, I'm gonna say it right now. Because obviously I'm a Boston fan. I'm from Boston. You know, I went to games at Fenway. I saw David Ortiz in the flesh. I saw him hit a home run. I saw his aura that he put off. He is the best. If he is one of the best, if not the best Red Sox player ever, I would say. Just because there was so much that he did for that city. After the 2013 bombings, he went out there and he said, "This is our city." I'm not gonna say it, but you know what he said. And I remember watching that on TV, and that was something big in itself. And then for them to go ahead and win the whole chip in 2013, and for him to have such a big part in that, I mean, that alone puts him. I think that 2013 puts him as the greatest. But Hall of Fame wise, I mean, he was clutch. There's on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of videos. There's one video in particular that it's just him with clutch moments. Like, whether it's a walk-off or whatever it is, he was the man that you wanted at bat. He was the one. And he even said it himself that he learned from other people. Manny Ramirez was a big one. Mm-hmm. Alex Rodriguez was a big one. Even though they were, rivals on the field, off the field, they were friends. He created something with the Red Sox that, that is gonna last forever. You know, he is 34. He is retired. They got the number retired. He's going to the Hall of Fame, first ballot because of what he did. 2004, 2007, 2013. If he was playing in 2018, man, that would have made that championship even better. But that guy's amazing. I mean, you know, it comes down to, you know, what he put up. He's at 400 or 500 home runs. What is it?
He's 541, I believe.
Exactly. Like, dude, that's insane numbers for and how old was he when he retired? He was 40?
He was 40.
He was 40 years old, man. You put that up against Tom Brady, who's what,
44.
They both finished out their seasons on top. You know, even though neither of them won a championship their last year, they finished out on top stats wise. And I mean, David Ortiz, you say that name to anybody in Boston, and they got a story to tell. Whether it was a game that they were at or an interaction they had with him, he's that guy.
All right, and so for me, sports wise, it goes football, basketball, baseball. So I'm not that much knowledgeable in baseball compared to other sports. So the reason why I asked, though, is because a lot of the times when I'm hearing this, I'm hearing it connected to the franchise. Mm-hmm. But when you stack it up, like prime example, obviously the elephant in the room, like he didn't win an MVP. So like,
well, he should have.
What do you feel like? Like, okay, when you stack him up against other players, like why didn't he win an MVP?
Well, I think that was because of DH, right?
I think
the DH position.
A lot of it is because of that. Like you said in baseball, he didn't have a position. He was a designated hitter.
He was first base, but I mean, he eventually got moved over to DH.
Historically, I think the DH position has been penalized, and
it's been looked down upon. I mean, compared to you know, you put what's his name? Shohei. That's how you say it, right?
Yep.
He is a pitcher and a DH. He's not out there and playing in the field when he's not pitching. He's a DH. And people are like, "Oh yeah, this and that. He's, you know, the greatest." Yeah, he's looking good. He has good numbers. He's looking to be one of the greatest players, but he's playing DH. He's pitching, but he's playing DH. People got to think about that. I know it's that he's a pitcher and whatever, but he's still a DH. You know, he's not out there playing in the field. You know, pitching aside, you look at a hitter as a position player, not a pitcher.
Yeah.
You know, none of the pitchers that are in the game right now are the best hitters. You know, Clayton Kershaw's not hitting rockets every day.
Yeah, exactly.
But Shohei is. So you got to put him with the DHs because that's his position. Even though he's a pitcher, he pitches one game out of a 5-game cycle.
So what's your take on specifically like David Ortiz making it? Like, what is the one thing that you would say is the reason why he made it?
He's going to be silent now.
Like I said earlier, it's what he did in the postseason. And obviously clutch hits. He broke out in 2004. Obviously that series against the Yankees, he had walk-off hits there. And then think about 2013, right before they even made it to the World Series, that grand slam against Detroit, going over the bullpen. And I'm still mad about that game because I remember I was watching it. We were down, and I went to sleep, and I was like, you know what? They already lost. Like I was like, I have school the next day. I was like, I'm just gonna wake up. We're gonna be down this. I think what was it 1-0 during that the series?
I don't remember the score.
All I know is we were gonna be down in the series, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep. I wake up, I just see that he hit a grand slam, and Torrey Hunter does a flip over in the back, and I'm just like,
and the cop is like,
yeah, the cop is celebrating going crazy. So it's moments like that, and then you think about that same year, the World Series, he hit 680 something and 2 home runs, and he was just on fire. They didn't even want to pitch to him, and just moments like that. You know, you said he doesn't have regular season MVP, and like I said,
he should have.
That's a lot of debate, probably about defensive and all that stuff, but he still had 2 World Series MVPs, and that to me that says a lot.
And he was what is that, a 7-time All-Star? I think
he was 10-time.
10-time All-Star.
He was All-Star a lot of years.
Because I know he got the tattoo on his hand for that. But yeah, man. I mean, even though he didn't win an MVP, I mean, you look at a guy like Trout. Like Trout is amazing. He's definitely a Hall of Famer, but he doesn't have a chip, bro. Like, you know, do you look down on that because they don't have a chip?
Well, obviously when it comes to individually, when it comes to MVPs and stuff like that, of course Trout is definitely up there. But it's when is he gonna get? Most of the time, especially in baseball, I just feel like it's easy to go to a different team just to win a chip, just so you can have it on your accolades. Because prime example, he'll probably finish out that long extension with the Angels, and prime example, just throwing it out there because a lot of people done it. go sign with the Yankees and try to win a chip, and that's it. Like that's what everyone does. Like they get
They
old,
haven't won
they
in a
get
while.
old or whatever, and they go sign with the Yankees or they sign with the team just to go win a chip. So
Yeah, look where that's gone.
so
The Dodgers, another big market team.
Yeah.
or like prime example, just
Well,
another
maybe
example
the
like
Red
that.
Sox. Who knows?
So, but obviously one of the main allegations was the accused
alleged.
steroid use.
Reported.
So what do we feel like about like steroids in baseball in general? Like obviously you're not seeing too much pop up right now, but in general, like how it stains their career, which obviously that's the only thing keeping out Barry Bonds out of there.
And Roger Clemens.
For me, so the whole David Ortiz thing, that's a whole. Baseball's a little bit of a weird sport. It's obviously different from basketball and football, but that report that you're talking about, it came out in 2009. It was a leaked report from 2003. Mm-hmm. So when that report came out, there was already a 6-year gap, but allegedly there was a bunch of MLB players on this list that failed. It didn't say what the drug was, what PED it was.
Said foreign substance.
It just said that there was a substance that came up, and David Ortiz happened to be one of the names on the list. For me, I don't hold that against him because, one, it was a list that was never supposed to come out. And two, some of the other players on it, I know Pedro Martinez was on that list, and eventually he still made the Hall of Fame, and that wasn't used against him. I feel like just in its nature, David Ortiz, since he was borderline in a lot of people's mind, he made it. You need 75%. He made it with 77. So his Hall of Fame cast, he was already on the border, and he just got over it.
But he was definitely going to make it anyways within the 10 years.
I think
if
so.
not this
I think
year,
he
it would
was,
have been
but
next year.
Yeah, like I said, he was just on the edge for a lot of people, and I feel like a lot of people use that as a reason to not put him in. Mm-hmm. Especially they were saying, oh, if David Ortiz used steroids, and then you look at Barry Bonds, who's arguably greatest hitter of all time and all this stuff. To me, that's a different story with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Those are people that Alex Rodriguez
admitted to, or someone admitted to
tested positive twice
to giving it to them.
Like I said, just the whole mystery of that 2003 report, how just it never came out officially.
And MLB never disclosed to David Ortiz after he asked what the substance was. They never said what it was. So
the commissioner has come out and basically exempted
Yeah.
people on that mysterious report and all that. And like I said, another thing to it, that was in 2003. That was before David Ortiz even blew up.
And he tested negative every single time after that.
Tested negative every single time after. Like Christian mentioned, age 40 season. He led the league in extra base hits, 38 home runs.
Man.
That's not whatever they have in Dominican Republic.
Mofongo?
That's the plantains they have over there. But at age 40, obviously still getting PED tested and all that, arguably having one of his better seasons too. So that's why for me, it's the longevity of how good he played towards the end.
Yeah.
That I don't use that PED situation against him because I saw what he did after that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was still,
even on his last year,
in my eyes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Last year, 40, where he was still arguably one of the best hitters.
And
in the
he
league.
wasn't in shape. I mean, by any means, he was not on Tom Brady's level. He wasn't using TB12.
Yeah,
he was doing DO34 beer and fried chicken before games. That's what I think he said in like 2000. It was like 2009, 2010. I think that's what he was doing. But I mean, he was in no shape to be where he's at. But it's just that level, that mindset that he has. You know you know, what he did was incredible. You know, in that last season. So I mean, for me, he's the GOAT, man.
Yeah, like I said, for me, that's where I draw the line between like someone like, because obviously it was this year, David Ortiz and Barry Bonds. Like I said, if you look at the stats, I mean, who's going to compare to Barry Bonds? He won
of course,
multiple MVPs. This man got walked with the bases loaded. Like, you're basically giving up a run because you're like, oh, this guy's going to do damage. So, like, people see that and they're like, how does David Ortiz make it over Barry Bonds? But like I said, that whole PED situation for me, that's what separates the whole thing.
Yeah. But like even steroid use in baseball in general, like I just feel like it's very frowned upon because obviously you look at it, it's a performance enhancing drug. But it takes so much skill to still hit a ball. Like I'm talking about, like baseball is probably like so technically sound and so hard, extremely difficult compared to other sports because these pitchers nowadays, bro, like it's hard to hit a ball in general. Like it's hard to hit a ball and get a ground ball.
You see how small a baseball is. I mean, and you see how big the bat is. I mean, I think it's like less than half. Like it's like a baseball, and then the bat is like this, so it's like less than half bigger than the ball. But I mean, to be able to have that skill and that power with a wood bat alone, you know, in high school, college, all that, they use metal, and then you transition to professional and they use wood. So I mean, to be able to do that with a slab of wood, I think they should just do PEDs like for the whole league, like just make it legal, and that sets a standard though. I mean, or not sets a standard, but it makes it how do you say, like it makes it an even playing field. Like if people want to use it, they can use it. If you don't, then that's on you. Even if the worst hitter uses PEDs, they're not going to be David Ortiz.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, if you let everyone be on the same drug, I guarantee not everyone's going to hit a ball out of the park. You know,
it
like
takes
I just don't think it's possible. I don't know if I would allow PEDs to still be allowed, but my point is though is like pretty much that when it comes in terms of cheating, knowing what pitch is coming is definitely worse than that. Or prime example, like obviously you hear like hitting the trash bin if it's this or all that stuff. Like I feel like that is should be way more frowned upon versus him possibly using a drug. Not specifically David Ortiz, but like Barry Bonds, how he did use that drug.
You think that's worse? Like the whole sign stealing stuff. You think that's worse than PEDs?
I think that's worse. I think for sure that's worse.
I think it's worse. I mean, the
Red Sox got coming. That's different. You know what's coming. You know
the Red Sox got accused for it. I don't know. I didn't really look into that because I really didn't care. But I mean. They were using Apple Watches to reportedly steal signs.
Stealing signs, that's always been a part of the game. That's really like
person's
on second, you're trying to figure out what's coming. That's one thing. But I'm talking about like when you're talking about like audio, video recording.
Yeah, the Astros were a little bit different. They were a little bit different.
It's different when you're catching like when the pitcher's tipping pitches and actually knowing what the heck is coming. That's two totally different things. Or even obviously the allegation against Altuve with having the
wire on his
shirt.
shirt. He's talking about don't rip my shirt.
I got a new tattoo, right? Is that what it was?
He's like, don't rip my shirt. Don't rip
that's
it. That's
all sus, but I feel like that's 10 times worse because you know exactly what's coming. You know what to swing at. Versus when you're roided up, like I said, bro, if you roid up your whole team, I don't think your whole team's hitting bombs at the end of the day.
I mean,
so.
you give it. I'm trying to think of like if you give it to Mike Trout, that he's gonna go crazy. But if you give it to somebody like I'm trying to think of like a trash player.
Not a trash player, but
a trash player because if you give drugs to a trash player,
no, I'm saying I got an example of PEDs where it didn't like turn out. I guess the way you would say, in theory, it's supposed to. So D. Gordon, he got suspended for PEDs, and you look at like his numbers, what he was doing. He was like an okay hitter. He always hit for average around 300, but home run wise, he was hitting like 4 or 5. Like he was never a power hitter. And then when he got caught, and we got caught using PEDs, it didn't have that effect that I guess in your mind you would think PEDs would have. So that's kind of.
I think it's because he was small though. He didn't have much power. Barry Bonds and David Ortiz were massive dudes. I mean, I think David Ortiz is like 6 foot or taller. Like
David Ortiz is 6'4". That's a big.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's a pretty big dude, and however much weight he has on him, I mean, he's always been, a heavier dude. So Barry Bonds is the same way. Barry Bonds looked like he was about to rip his jersey.
When you were in DR, did you like think? Obviously, not for sure that you're gonna see David Ortiz, but like when you were in DR, like, did you think about anything
I sent
like
you that he was going back to DR to be for the Hall of Fame announcement.
So over there, all Dominican players that have made it out, like. You see their pictures everywhere. So I saw like Bartolo Colon everywhere. You see like billboards of David Ortiz everywhere. I went to a barbershop over there, and obviously like
got a sick fade.
Yeah, I got a nice
and they
fade
do your taxes,
bro. A full haircut, less than $5. That's a whole different story. But
that's another day.
At the barbershop, everyone's like the anticipation, like, oh, do you think David Ortiz can get in? Like, do you think he's gonna get in? And then you leave, and then you see a billboard of him like outside. It's like. The players that make it out over there, they're like heroes over there.
Oh yeah.
So that's definitely like for me.
How many Dominicans are in the Hall of Fame? What is it, 5 or less?
You got David Ortiz now,
Pedro Martinez,
Vladimir Guerrero, Pedro, and I feel like I'm saying his name wrong. It's Juan Marichal. He was the first one. It was like I think in the 70s.
And that's it for
80s. He was a pitcher. So there's a lot of players come up like Albert Pujols. He's gonna make it when time is up, and countless other Dominicans that are coming up. I mean.
But I mean, it definitely gives Dominicans a good representation. I mean that's big on its own. And how was that DR trip, man?
It was it's definitely interesting. It's always cool to go back where you're from. Most beautiful water in the world. But like I said, when I was over there, baseball, like they have like the Winter League over there. So I was looking at the rosters and stuff, and like in the city that I was staying at, they had some like American players like Derek Dietrich, who he plays for the Marlins, like a white guy. Like he's just over there in DR playing baseball, and I'm like, yo, like that's for the love of the game. So it was definitely crazy over there. But
I was gonna say like I'm sure when David Ortiz won, like your phone was like blowing up. But like I know something else happened to your phone over there too. So.
Yeah, you want to tell them what happened?
If you want.
My phone got hacked in DR. Got no service. Connecting to random Wi-Fi everywhere, and
somebody was stealing that.
Someone stole my information. So
that's crazy.
But I mean, you were just giving out your information.
Was I?
I mean, you sent me your password, and that's how I got in.
I mean, I was just trying to guess. I don't know who I can trust, but it's crazy. Over
like my whole time, like you're over here enjoying the river, and Christian was pulling out the Ray-Bans photos.
Yeah, someone hacked into my Instagram. Selling Ray-Bans. So I don't know if someone hit you up and you gave them information. I don't know what to tell you if you thought it was me. So
no, because Christian was finding the Ray-Bans photos and he posted it.
Wait. What do you mean?
He did not get it, bro.
The sign was in Point Siena because Christian was at my house in Point Siena.
You're lying.
I'm being for real, bro.
Okay, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
He's like, what is going on in this podcast?
Whole lot of things in this episode, but it was a great episode to wrap it up on that.
Yeah, man. I mean,
you guys got anything else?
It's a very serious conversation coming after.
Say it on the podcast. What's up, man?
I'll save it for after.
Hey, guys, got anything else to this?
David Ortiz, congratulations, man. You are the GOAT, man. I'm so proud of you, man. I was over here screaming. I definitely shed some tears on the 2013 World Series. That was very big, and you had a big part to do with that. I just, thank you for all the time, you did, the moments. I remember, quick story, but I remember at Fenway Park when he got up to bat and the ball came off the bat, the whole park got silent. Everybody stood up. And then the ball goes over the wall, and everyone's like, "Yeah!" And you just hear screaming, man. Those are the best times. And I remember watching the summertime, watching games, seeing him hit bombs. It was amazing. So David Ortiz, all respect to you, man. You did great. You had a great career. You did great stuff in Boston. Thank you, man. Congrats.
I'm a Yankees fan. Not much to say, but shout out to my Dominicans.
Like I said, what David Ortiz means to like all the Dominicans over there. Definitely, whole country's proud of you. Whole country went crazy, so definitely very proud to say that my favorite player, Dominican, I'm Dominican, made it to the Hall of Fame. He definitely deserved it.
Big Poppy, Little Poppy. No.
I'm Big Poppy. I'm Poppy Asia, by the way. That's what my friends call me. So.
No one calls
no,
that.
we don't go
I call myself that.
But hey, the Ballsy and Face podcast on Instagram, Ballsy and Face the podcast on TikTok, and then BIYF the podcast on Twitter. So make sure to follow all those socials.
Yeah, and make sure you like the video, dislike it if you don't like it. That's all right.
Comment us up, man. Let us know we got to improve.
Subscribe, hit the bell, do what you got to do, man. Let us know what you want to see in the next few videos, and just hit up all of our socials and let your friends know and let their friends know and just keep going with it, man. We're gonna keep rocking with it, right, guys?
Yes, sir.
So with all that being said, congrats to David Ortiz. I love you, Big Poppy, my Big Poppy. Yeah, guys, that's it. I'm Christian Rivera.
I'm Joshua Ramos.
I'm Zio Hernandez.
Bye.